Good news, we got the new adapter for the camera. Bad news, we got the adapter for the camera so you can see this ugly mug much better apparently. Oh, Jesus. Why in the world did a thumbs up just come? Fuck, I hate technology. Let's just get on with it. Let's just get on with it. But at least you get the Grateful Dead shirt with it. Let's go. Today I want to talk about a few possible incomings, and I'm going to stress who knows exactly how likely any of these are, because all of these, or most of these rather, are pretty big names. So bear with me here. I'm trying to bring nuance, but also the fact that I'm talking about them shows that it's realistic possibilities. And the first one I'm going to start with is Divock Origi. I'm going to try my hardest over the next couple minutes to not make a corner taken quickly Origi joke. Though the other night at about midnight, I threw that on YouTube to watch old Liverpool highlights. Divock Origi, not going to make any, I'm not going to hide it. A cult hero, one of the favorite players. I do hope he comes to MLS, but the reports coming out of Sky Italy were that a few MLS teams, and I'm not even going to name them because I don't think it's worth it. What's real is that several sources have told me that Divock Origi has been offered around MLS. This is a player whose profile would fit MLS in 2024. The issue here currently is salary. Like, from what I've heard, he's asking for too much money. From what I heard, and the fact that the report came out of Sky Italy, is that this probably came from AC Milan telling Sky Italy, because they've been looking to get him off the books for the last year and a half. Last summer, I heard that of AC Milan kind of offering him around, hey, do you guys know, like, would anybody be interested in Divock Origi? And at that point, it was more for like a transfer fee plus a salary, and that really wasn't going to happen. And now the issue would be salary. For me, any team with a DP spot would make sense here. I really would like his fit in FC Dallas. I don't think that they would pay the money again. And I want to stress that this isn't a Dallas thing. This is a lot of teams are balking at kind of the salary and the figures that he would want to come to MLS. But, you know, setting the money aside, stylistically, Dallas would be a great fit. You could play him as the 9. He could play on the wing if you wanted to do that. But Jesus Ferreira playing as a second forward with Divock Origi as a number 9, I'd really like that. But again, this is all pie in the sky for now. The way I'd probably rate this one is not likely at all really at the moment, unless he changes his salary demands. And that's all possible. Like, hopefully, I'm sure that he wants to play more than he's playing. He's not playing much for Nottingham Forest. I don't know. He's somebody who would make a lot of sense here in MLS. And I do hope that something gets done. Divock Origi is 28 years old. He'd be an absolute star in this league, I think. I think he'd fit very well physically and technically. Look, he just hasn't gotten a lot of playing time. In Nottingham Forest this year, he's played in only 9 games, 177 minutes. That's just not enough at this stage of his career. He left Liverpool because he wanted a more regular role. He went to AC Milan. He didn't get that regular role. He played about 1,000 league minutes, and then obviously they sent him on loan this year because they didn't have that clear role for him. And it hasn't worked out at Nottingham Forest, but Nottingham Forest have about 175 players, so he's not the first and won't be the last. But yeah, I do hope that Divock Origi would make his way to MLS, but the top line for this is that it's nothing imminent. He's been offered to teams. He hasn't gotten down the line with teams. He'd be a DP. We'll see. Maybe things change, maybe particularly when the January transfer window closes and there's less options out there. Hopefully he would go to MLS rather than Saudi Arabia, but it's more likely that, say, a Saudi Arabian club would pay his wages because money isn't an issue there as much as I guess it would be here just in terms of what they're offering. And that's not coming with any inside information that he has offers from Saudi Arabia. I'm just saying if the January transfer window closes in Europe, you have to look in MLS, Saudi, and Turkey, I guess, if you're looking to go elsewhere. So we'll see. Another big name player linked with a potential move to MLS, or at least considering a potential move to MLS, is legendary French striker Olivier Giroud. Now, Giroud is out of contract with AC Milan this summer. There's been reports in Europe that he's considering coming to MLS, or he's considering his next steps. He hasn't. That Milan has pretty much said, hey, it's up to you. If you want to stay, we want to re-sign you. Again, he's 37 years old. He's earned this decision. He's earned them, not pressuring him. And this is another player who I just would absolutely love to see in MLS. I think he'd be more in the Zlatan Ibrahimovic mold of that. His play style, like, again, he's 37. He's not 31. But his play style is aging incredibly well. His stats with AC Milan, he's got 10 goals and 6 assists in 1,300 minutes this year. Like, he's averaging a goal contribution better than, once every 90 minutes. Like, that's still elite. Last year, he had 13 goals and 5 assists in 2,100 minutes. Like, this dude, with service, scored a ton of goals. Put him in, like, a possession-based team, right? Just play up top, play off him as a target man, kind of like the Galaxy did with Zlatan Ibrahimovic for a few years, and he was wildly successful. Just put him in anything that isn't a high-pressing team. Sorry, St. Louis. Sorry, Red Bulls. Not going to fit, right? Like, if Olivier Giroud came to MLS, and again, I'm told that this is all very, very preliminary. I was asking folks who would be in the know on this, and they wouldn't give me any team names really because it's just way too preliminary, and it's more about choosing his next adventure and the project versus like, I think this is something that it would definitely not be a winter move. I'll say that first and foremost. This would be kind of a summer signing after his contract expires and after he finishes his season with Milan. My own kind of deductions or I guess hopes, again, this is no inside information, but just realistically speaking, LAFC, LA Galaxy, he looks like an LA guy, right? He's whoever signs him, their team handsome average is going to go way up, and some star power. So of course, LA teams have always got to be mentioned. Miami would be mentioned if they were able to. Obviously, they can't. But maybe that won't stop European outlets from just saying LA or Miami or whatever, right? Chicago Fire is something that would make sense just because they'd be able to pay him a lot. Like, money isn't an issue with them. They desperately need a new face of the franchise. I don't know how much sense he'd necessarily make with Xherdan Shaqiri kind of off the ball and whether this would be good. Like, he doesn't want to come to a team that's not going to be that competitive. And Chicago, I don't know if they can really wait until the summer, but theoretically that's a team that would make sense. Another one that I would really like, Austin FC. Like, if they put the money forward and he was playing ahead of Sebastian Triusi, I think that combo would be great. And then you just kind of defend in a 4-4-2 and say, hey, these two are our piano players. Everybody else is the piano carriers. Like, they play possession-based. He would thrive, I think, under Josh Wolf's system. If they were competitive enough and could put together an enticing financial package, I think that'd be a fun move. I think that would be interesting. That's at least within the realm of possibility. Orlando City is another kind of dark horse. I don't think that they would get there in terms of salary. Like, they've spent more so on transfer fees than they have on salary under this new ownership. But, yeah, you never know, right? Like, they could be able to sign it. They would have to move some things around to sign a DP. But, hey, if Duncan McGuire leaves and Olivier Giroud comes in, that wouldn't be so bad. But, again, this is all hypothetical. This is all speculation. That none of this is sourced or whatever. Like, I guess the way I'd rate this one is it's possible. Again, I wouldn't call it likely just because there's going to be a lot of teams trying to sign Olivier Giroud. And again, like, he's happy at Milan. Like, maybe he stays at Milan. Like, maybe that's where this ends. So we'll kind of see. But it's definitely one to keep an eye on because there's been kind of back channeling from, I think Taylor Twellman's talked about this in the past, that like, I think Olivier Giroud might want to come to MLS. Like, he doesn't say that without having some people talking, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, whether it's 100% like actionable or not, like, it's definitely something he's been considering, and it's definitely something that's on the radar. And again, I think he would absolutely thrive in this league, both on and off the field, just in terms of star power and on-field quality. It'd be nobody's Zlatan, but this would be, I guess, similar in the Zlatan mold to somebody who could be a star off the field and be one of the best players in the league on the field, even, at 37 years old. Dive into Alberth Elis. Yes, it's about that time that the Alberth Elis may be coming back to MLS rumors recommence. Galaxy and LAFC last year were pushing to sign him from Bordeaux. A deal came really close with LAFC, but it ultimately didn't end up getting done. And he went on loan elsewhere in France. He went to the first division, and he didn't play much. Like, it hasn't been a great last 2 years. His first season with Bordeaux in Ligue 1 was really good. He almost kept them in the division, but they got relegated, and since then it's been a little weird because Bordeaux trying to cut costs. And his playing time this year has been down, which is weird. He's got 5 goals in 700 minutes. Like, he should be playing more, but I digress. I'm not super locked in the day in, day out of Bordeaux, so don't take me as an expert on that. This one makes a lot of sense. This one, I dare go as far as to say likely, just because he's flirted with a return to MLS in the past. He's MLS proven. The finances would work. He knows the lifestyle would work. The teams, he's a known commodity. It's somebody who, again, he'd fit in a lot of places too, both in his like price profile. I don't know how much Bordeaux is going to hold out in terms of a transfer fee. And I don't know exactly how much he's going to hold out for in terms of salary, but just a quick scan of the teams. Like, there's so many that make sense. First and foremost, I'm going to start with the Galaxy. If they don't get Joseph Pancil, they should absolutely put all of their efforts into signing Alberth Elis. I think he'd be really, really great to put around Ricky Puig and everything else in this rebuilding attack. They have the DP spot open, and they want to sign another goal-scoring attacker. LAFC would make sense as well if Carlos Vela doesn't come back. He'd be, again, Elis is well worthy of a DP spot, well worthy of somebody who can, maybe not be the primary guy in attack, but, 1B to somebody's 1A, something like that. Maybe he's not consistent enough, but who knows? Some other teams that make a lot of sense: Houston, Charlotte, San Jose, Real Salt Lake, Philadelphia Union. I wrote all those down, and I take notes, big time, Big J journalist here on my little white notes. That's what I'm looking down at, my little yellow sticker notes. I'll start with kind of Houston, a return that the romantic in me would love that, but he fits his team so well. If Coco Carrasquilla leaves, they have a big hole in the attack. They want to improve the attack as is. like, go out and get Alberth Elis. Like, how awesome would that be? He comes home, the prodigal son returns to a new ownership group, a better team than what he left. Like, he and Mauro Manotas were their hopes a few years ago, that they won an Open Cup, and now that was really it, because the team around him wasn't very good. Now the team is much better. He'd be playing with Hector Herrera and all these other guys. Like, I don't know. I would love that. Charlotte are looking to add wingers. They're looking to add attackers. It's a little bit more complicated there. They need Kamil Yuzuyak to leave, which they're working on. And I assume Karol Swiderski is going to leave, just if I had to guess, just because I know he's ready to go back to Europe. So 2 DP spots could be open. They could sign a young DP in Groenbeek and then bring in Alberth Elis, and that would be a completely remade attack that makes a lot more sense. San Jose Earthquakes, I don't think that they're going to have the money for this, but look, Cade Cowell's gone, and they have another need on the wing. Like, why not prop up the attack with Abobasi, Espinoza, and Elis, and then let your, like, young attacking stars like Cruz Medina, Nico Shakiris, like, and some of these other, like, burgeoning young prospects coming through the academy, they can kind of rotate in at that 4th spot, and with this foundation around them, it makes it much easier. Real Salt Lake definitely have the money, and they definitely have the need. They're looking, I guess, for like a second striker, number 10, but, again, I think Elis can play through the center, honestly, as like a second forward. That's another reason why I think that Philly would make a lot of sense for him. Again, I don't think that they would put up the money for this for, 27, 28-year-old. But if Julian Carranza leaves this winter, like, you could do a whole lot worse for a second forward than Alberth Elis, and I think he'd be absolutely electric under Jim Curtin. These are just teams, again, no inside info. The only thing I know is that I'd imagine that the Galaxy would be in preliminary talks. I guess I don't even know that for sure. But again, everything's early at this stage. And out of the 3 I've talked about so far, Origi, Giroud, and this is definitely the most likely, just because the other ones would be, I think, much more complicated, much more difficult, and definitely much more expensive. So Elis makes the most sense. And again, this is another one that I think a lot of teams should be lining up for and trying to, whether something gets done or not. I guess we'll see over the winter. Last one, not going to get too far deep into this. There was a random rumor about Jesse Lingard to MLS, which there's been before. First it was DC United with Wayne Rooney, and now Phil Neville's in Portland, so now they're linking him to Portland. The report that came out was his agents reached out, and there's interest from Portland and a bunch of other teams. And, just when you read something like that, that sounds fishy, because it is fishy. I reached out, I was talking to somebody in Portland, and it was like, we got an email, we didn't even answer it, and 15 minutes later, we're reading about it online in the Daily Mail. So, like, that there's no truth to it at all. That doesn't mean that he can't come to an MLS team. Doesn't mean that, like, I think he'd be a good fit here. But, like, he trained with Steven Gerrard's club in Saudi Arabia and was a free agent and didn't sign a deal. Like, I don't know the ins and outs of what happened there. Like, if it's a money thing, and if he's turning down a Saudi club, like, that pretty much rules him out for MLS. I've seen people talking about him maybe as a TAM player. I can't possibly imagine he'd come to MLS without being a DP. So this one seems extremely unlikely. It seems like his agents get into work and trying to stir the pot and get people talking. Like an idiot like me, I took the bait, right? Like, so, again, I'm mostly using this just kind of as a corridor to talk about how much this happens. Agents pitch their players, intermediaries pitch players that aren't even theirs every day, particularly this time of year. I was telling a story on Twitter a little bit that I can expand on here. I was sitting with a GM once a couple off seasons ago, and something like this came up. It's like, how many times do you get these just like you must be answering texts and calls all day, right? And like a lot of them are probably nonsense. Like, how do you deal with it? And he laughs. He pulls out his phone. He goes, "Tom, look at this." He brings up his email, and he shows an email of the subject line was something to the effect of player we think fits perfect for you. Pretty much like this agent or intermediary is pitching a player, and they try to personalize it with, hey, we think he'd fit perfectly for your team. As if this was a one-on-one email. I'm doing you a favor. The guy forgot to blind CC the recipients. He just did a normal CC so everybody could see it. I'm not kidding when I say there was 125 different clubs CC'd on that email about this player that was perfect for your team. And it was like, yeah, he's like, the person I was talking to was like, I get, copy and pasted emails where they forget to change and put my name in. After I tweeted about this, another GM reached out to me and was like, dude, I just got an email yesterday that was for a player, and it was addressed to Carlos Bocanegra. And this obviously wasn't Carlos Bocanegra. So it was just agents and intermediaries copy and pasting emails just to send to all their players. I was talking to one guy another guy, like an agent or an intermediary that I like. He pitched the same player, I think, to 19 different teams. And then that player tried to get a new agent, and the new agent pitched him to 19 different teams. Like, this happens all the time. If I were to report every single player that I knew of that was pitched to teams, I'd be nonstop just nonsense. It'd be no deals ever getting done because I'd just be too busy talking about the guys that are being emailed about. So again, don't take everything you read as 100% fact. Trust who you trust online. Hopefully it's me, even though I'm wearing a tie-dye Grateful Dead shirt with a flaming skull in basketball. I know that, I don't look like the most trustworthy person right now, but, hey, this is my brand. It is what it is. That'll do it today. I think that was kind of a fun one. It's a little tough for me to get into this kind of stuff because it's different, the unknown, and teams don't really want to talk about their targets until the deals are done, which is why I talk mostly about done deals, because it's harder to get info when teams are in the process of signing players. And I don't want to do a whole lot of like, hey, this is who somebody should sign if there's no like substance to it. Maybe I'll do a little bit of that just in like, hey, these are players who make sense for MLS. But, again, if that's something you want, let me know. We'll see. Planning some stuff around some more national team stuff coming up in the next few weeks. So a lot of MLS preview stuff. Again, if there's anything in particular you guys want, I do read all the comments. That's why I made the joke about the eyebrow. That's why, I've seen all the eyebrows, mustache jokes. I appreciate it. I think it's funny. I laugh. It's good stuff. Nobody makes fun of me more than I make fun of me. So yeah, rest assured that I am reading all the comments that I can. The kind words are very much appreciated. But again, like there have been several ideas in there. Somebody recommended a software that I have since downloaded, OBS or something. So thank you to the person and people I think who did that. That was good. I'm gonna have to try to learn it, but that'll help in the future too. So yeah, again, suggestions, comments, concerns. You want to make fun of me? You want to say something nice? Anything goes. So again, I am reading them. Just wanted to kind of throw that out there. Till next time.